Hello, YouTube. I'm just going to get the live started on the other places while we wait for the moderator to jump on. I'm a little bit late, like usual. Let's see. Thank you guys for being patient. Okay. So tonight I'm going to be doing some Akashic stuff and decided to include Instagram in tonight's, or I'm sorry, include YouTube in tonight's live stream, which I have not been doing lately. I've mostly just been going live on Instagram and Twitter, and decided to go ahead and incorporate YouTube back into this live space. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Sarah. I am an energy practitioner, and I do a lot of work within the Akashic records. So what does that mean? That means my understanding of what the Akasha is may be different than standard. I understand and have direct knowing of the Akasha, the primary substance, to be an aspect of the Godhead and of spirit, of spirit, or the Holy Spirit, the Great Spirit itself. So that is what I work with. I offer a number of different modalities in my work, but primarily prefer to focus on the Akash and consciousness exploration, like quantum hypnosis. And those are the two sort of, if I'm going to niche into anything, you'll find that I like to work within the confines of these, or the parameters of these types of modalities, because they promote sovereignty. So this year in 2025, those who have been around as I've established my practice will see me stepping back from the significant, hi Phil, hi Mike, the significant depth quantum clearing work that I've done, and that will continue to be offered on a case-by-case basis within the confines or parameters, again, of one of my signature packages, or worked into one of the sovereignty-focused modalities that I prefer to work in, including the Akash. So today what I'm doing is, rather than doing a full, like, kind of general offering, general collective Akashic messaging, I thought that I would open up, if anybody is present who would like to ask a question on YouTube, or really on Instagram as well, would be fine. I'm going to take a few individual questions, and I will offer some intuitive Akashic wisdom and guidance as to a question. The question needs to be appropriate, and it is at my discretion whether or not I answer it. What does appropriate mean? Appropriate means you are not hitting on me or anybody else who is in attendance. There is no overly sexualized remarks. There is no Bible thumping allowed or religion, shaking your religion in front of our faces, which is something that we've had here that's happened on YouTube a couple of times. I am a mystic and know the true Christ quite well, and was raised Christian, and am familiar with all of their arguments. And I just need to state very clearly for anybody who may be present or may jump on that suggesting that me or anybody present in the stream is demonic will have you booted and blocked from the channel. And I felt like we needed to get ahead of that, and I was going to go ahead and say that because myself and the moderator, we backed off of YouTube because we had a few people jump on a time or two suggesting that I was that what we were doing was demonic or sharing religion. And I probably know more about the Bible and many of the arguments given than a lot of the people who are perpetuating that. So that said, I do consider myself a mystic as a follower of the way. And those of you who read my work will know more about that. So anyway, if anybody would like to ask a question, you can type it in the chat, either on YouTube or on Instagram. The chat on Twitter is disabled. That is a feature, and because I don't usually have somebody moderating, and when I am streaming with the Akash, my eyes are closed a portion of the time, and I'm not going to watch the chat on Twitter typically. But on YouTube, we've got a moderator. So if anybody who's present on Twitter right now would like to ask a question and receive some Akashic guidance, you are welcome to move over to the YouTube channel or to Instagram at Sarah Descending, same handle. And you can type a question. In either of the chats there. So, and if you don't have anything to say and you just want to watch and support, that's fine too. I'm going to talk a little bit about sovereignty while we see if anybody would like to ask a more personal or individualized question. So over the last couple of weeks, I personally have been going through another cycle of deathless death. What do I mean by that? Well, I mean transformation, rebirth. And these cycles are part of life. They are much better. They go these kind of death, rebirth, alchemical, inner work, inner transformation cycles go much, much better if you do not resist and dig in against it. So as I've gone through another one of these cycles myself, I'm leaning more into what is sovereignty and what is free will. And I've been talking about this a lot. I've written about it pretty extensively, off and on over the years. But the more experience I get as I move through the evolution and as I move through my life and move deeper into my 40s, the more I'm experiencing sovereignty in a whole new way, and also acknowledging the paradox that there is an element of there being no sovereign free will in the realm in which we find ourselves. It is both, neither, yes, no, up, down, some, and maybe. All the answers to that question are correct. But specifically, as I feel into sovereignty, what's come up for me is stepping back from continuing to offer significant energy clearing. And I mentioned this at the beginning, and I'm going to go ahead and talk about it a little bit. And this is also part of why I have paywalled my other modalities, soul guided emotional release and energy repair, into my program package, Descend to Ascend. But the reason what's coming up for me is that when clients or people are repeatedly outsourcing their sovereignty, they do expect that somebody else will be the answer to their problems and be able to fix them. And that's something that I'm really, really feeling into this deeply. And we are beings that need connection. We need other people. Hi, Kev. We need other people. We need connection. We need support. We need one another. However, what I was beginning to see as a pattern with significant repeat energy clearing clients was, and this is just, I'm sharing from my experience, but this can be extrapolated into the general. This can be taken in a widespread general way. People are outsourcing their sovereignty and expecting somebody else to fix them, whether it be a doctor, an energy work practitioner, an intuitive like myself, whether it be taking a little pill or a handful of supplements, whatever it is, everybody is searching for something for that next thing. We all are aware here in the spaces in which we find ourselves that there is a pattern with many people who get into these spaces of energetics, consciousness, spirituality, and they go modality practitioner hopping. If I can just find the right healer, if I can just find the right modality, if I can just get the right trip. I'm not going to rant about plant medicine too much right now, but many of you know I've written at length. If you want to read my take on psychedelics, I encourage you to search on my main Twitter at Sarah Descending for some of those keywords and find some of the writing that I've done about that. I'm not a mushroom hater. What I am is somebody who has been the exorcist who deals with all of the entities, portals, demonics, and monsters that people who were very well intentioned going into their plant medicine journey left with. So I have experienced this firsthand many, many times in terms of somebody went in well-intentioned, proper set and setting, and still came back with the DMT jesters or the mushroom clowns or the ayahuasca, similar entities and beings. And I believe these are all clown entities that are Nephilim derived. So that said, I won't rant on that. What we see is people who come into these spaces expecting to find someone or something that cures it all and makes it all better. And this is a fiction. It is a fiction that anybody else is going to heal you. It is a fiction that anyone or anything outside of you and your understanding of God, of the sacred, of the divine, of the one is going to make you all better. And so for that reason, I am going to be focusing on my work and directing my work in a way that supports and encourages other people in their own path of sovereignty and offering light energy clearing as a portion of those modalities when it is appropriate to do so. And I will not be allowing, I'm happy to hold space. I'm happy to work with people in program packages. I'm happy to hold container and stand as sacred witness and as the doula of your inner alchemical rebirth in a variety of ways, but it will not be constant energy clearing outsourced to me, because that's something you've got to do for you. Everybody is their own best healer and also their own most toxic medicine. And that is how I've always known it to be. I am what makes me sick. I am also the force of the source, which is love, that heals and repairs. And I have not yet met anybody for whom that is not an accurate statement. And we can outsource all we want to the parasitic false overlay that many call the matrix and their agents. Sure, that's all that's there. That's real. Yes. However, what we can do about it starts by taking full accountability. Radical sovereignty comes through honesty and accountability of the self. I hope that makes sense. It's something that's really, really been prevalent for me this week. It's really important. I'm not sure why this is coming up to share, but I'm going to share. It's really important also as we go about this journey to hold space for those who seem to need the structure that some kind of an organized religion offers them. There are many, many beautiful things that can occur and community, family that is offered through those groups. We won't talk about the infiltration extensively today that is prevalent and present in those groups as well. But it's been coming up for me a lot to recognize that the people that I typically speak to have moved beyond that need. But again, outsourcing to religion can also is an outsourcing of sovereignty, but some people have not yet gone far enough along their own path to come into themselves fully enough to provide the structure and the safety that's needed. So let's see, I'm just feeling into things. I'm seeing the bunny. When I closed my eyes, I saw a white bunny rabbit with pink ears. Whoever is getting stuck into like the rabbit hole, I'm just gonna say, if you are spiraling, if you're spiraling down yet another rabbit hole, that is also a distract, deflect trap. I see your message. I just don't think I don't think anybody has, sorry guys. I don't think anybody's typed anything in here. Moderator. Yeah, I don't think anyone's typed anything in there. So I'm seeing the white rabbit. If you're somebody who is really, really, really into the conspiracy theories or anything else that can be an energy drain and a spiral, a vortex that is difficult to get out of, that's what I call a distract, deflect trap. It functions as a trance trigger program. And I would recommend that while, again, this is all about sovereignty, what can you do? What can you do to hold space for yourself as you come fully into your autonomous free will sovereignty? I can guarantee that swirling around in the vortex of the rabbit hole that is siphoning your attention and energy is not the way. The way that we change this world and the way that we shift is to do the inner work of self and let that emanate forth into the world. There's significant stress and pain that many people are experiencing right now. There's also, I think it's worth noting, the prices of everything is insanely high. I'm a mother of 4 and my children are all adult sized. And I live with these other adult-sized people who eat like they are 6'1" growing men. So the reason I say that is because what I'm feeling as I feel into kind of the general population, the energetics of the general, like, massive population right now in the region I am in, people are experiencing, even though I live in a lower cost of living area, everybody is experiencing significant stress. And what I am seeing and what I want to share with you all about the way I interpret this is it is yet another way the extractive system extracts from us and keeps us from coming into the coherent heart mind or heart womb, and living the compassion of the middle way. So everything that functions as a roadblock in your life can be looked at from multiple perspectives. And one perspective is absolutely that these things are being placed there to try to distract you from the inner work of soul, spirit, and sovereignty. The other perspective is that they are placed there to catalyze that very experience and journey. So I hope that offers something for you to feel into and think about. Please be compassionate and kind to fellow humans in your community right now. Don't call people normies or muggles. I find that very distasteful, and I have not thought about that for a while. But what's coming in and what I want to share is that we are all infinite love and consciousness and divinity in disguise. And there may be people who are much more awake or aware than you think they are. One of the most awake and aware individuals I know is a young man in my community who is very hush about his personal understanding and belief system, because his mother is a devout Catholic and he is, out of respect for her, not sharing publicly his difference of belief and opinion and his own inner knowing. And so I'll offer to you that as people who may be a little bit further ahead on the path of the shift back to a healthier, more vibrant, gentle, radiant, loving version of existence, that sort of mindset and that behavior does nothing to further the healing and integration and attunement that we need to be making space for within the population of human ensouled humans incarnate right now. I'm not sure why that came up. It must be relevant, being offered from the Akash for people who are potentially here to consider and think about. That came in quite strongly. Again, Akash is reiterating, get out of the rabbit hole. And since this looks like the Playboy Bunny too, I guess we're going to talk about the only here's what I'll say. You know, deep within your heart, soul, and mind, if you are misusing erotic or pornographic material. I have thoughts that run somewhere in the middle of the road on this, but I can and will tell you that what I can see is that much of that material is interwoven with spell work and malevolent high magic to access and siphon life force and creativity. I'll offer that to you. And everybody knows, like, if you're dealing with death grip, I would very much recommend that you seek help for this issue. So apparently the bunny is a twofold symbol that the Akash wanted to talk about today. And many of you who have worked with me one-on-one know that I am very bold and direct and will speak quite frankly about these topics when it comes up in somebody's Akashic records reading. And I'm also a safe person to talk to about it. Like, it's not like I'm not super judgmental about it. I tend to have a very sensual experience of life myself, and have done extensive work to come into like the fullness of the womb and the magnetic womb that I have and am and carry. So this whole kind of like polarity, I also talk about like the distortion of polarity quite a bit in my work, and that comes up in my Akashic readings personally quite a bit, as does many other topics. I'm just going to close my eyes for a second and see, okay, what is with the... I'm going to offer the image to you. It's important for somebody. I'm seeing a massive gorilla wearing a blue, like a royal blue, like bow tie and a little tiny hat. That kind of looks like a top hat, but it's tiny. And it's sort of a hilarious little thing to close my eyes and see. But what the Akash would like to share is that this is the monkey on somebody's back. And if this is relevant to you, please know that help, support, loving guidance is available. That's the message. So if you feel like there's some kind of a massive monkey on your back, there probably is. And it's time to take accountability and come into the driver's seat of your life and deal with it. There's also, I can tell the Akasha is showing me that there's many people in attendance right now, and a couple who are going to watch a replay tomorrow or the following day that are dealing with what I call the mucus entity. And the mucus entity looks very much like the Mucinex cartoon. And this, it sounds funny, but it's actually quite oppressive. And I find these of varying sizes. I found one like that was totally like person sized, attached from somebody's like the base of their skull all the way down past the base of the spine and wrapped around them. And what does this mucus entity do? A number of things that involve gluttony, inflammation, addiction, chronic illness, dis-ease in many regards. So I won't give specifics, but do know that every single one of you here is capable of scanning your own body and your own energy field and I'm not expecting that you're an expert, but beginning to do the work of clearing your own energy. And if you are not yet fully able to do so or confident in your capability, then you can reach out to me or somebody like me who does work that I do for assistance. But again, like I said, energy clearing sessions with me are going to be a one-off. I'm here to focus with you on creating sovereignty, because the thing that's missing from so much of the talk in spiritual spaces, and I've written about this too, is that I can close portals. I can address attachments, entities, whatever it is, all day, every day. But if we are not finding and addressing what it is that is allowing these things access to you, they will come right back. So the whatever it is that's afflicting you is a nothing. once you do the inner work of soul, of spirit, of radical accountability and honesty with yourself and in the way you engage with and interface with the rest of the world and the other humans in this world. It doesn't mean that life just goes back to, we enter into some kind of a utopia when we come into this. It means we do have more responsibility, but also much less oppression. So that's why I'm not going to continue seeing people for repeat clearing sessions, a one-off, and then we move into the sovereignty, we move into space holding, we move into the deep work of self, which is what I started with and what I return to each time. So I hope that offers, I hope that offers some things for everyone to consider and feel into. Like, I'll just say that, my work isn't free, and I'm really direct about understanding that what I offer is valuable and of value. However, I can also in the same breath tell you that there are many like misguided practitioners. Some of them mean well, some of them don't know any better. But they will keep, instead of assisting you growing and progressing in your own evolution of soul, they'll keep taking the money and doing the same thing they did last time. And we never get anywhere and no progress is made. And you continue outsourcing, or a client continues outsourcing their sovereignty, and they don't actually address the underlying multiple factors that are allowing the affliction, the attachment, the torment, whatever it is, to occur. So that's really something that's been on my heart. What is the Akashic Records? I'm hearing somebody who's maybe new. What is the Akashic Records? So for anyone who doesn't know, I will, again, like I said earlier, I have a little bit of a different conceptualization that the Akash delivered to me itself. So I understand the Akashic Records to be an aspect of the Godhead. What is the Godhead? That sounds super churchy. The Godhead is potentially a triad of energies that are also the one. And that's all I'm going to say about that. But it's like, essentially, we'll just say the mother impulse, the father impulse, and the alchemical third thing created with them, or spirit, is what I'm going to offer. And so the Akashic Records is a living aspect, a living record of everything that ever has been, ever will be, could be, might be, and hasn't been. And that is the primary substance. So that's what the Akashic Records are. And what I do in an Akashic Records session is I understand that we are all part of a beautiful, interconnected whole that is also, while we are incarnate here in this realm, individualized. So we are interconnected and we are also individual. We will return to being one, but it is not accurate to say that we are all one here. That whole we are all one, it comes from a well-intentioned place. I will offer to you that my intuitive work has suggested that that's something that is going to come forth with the one world religion and the one world government that the parasitic system would like to bring forth. So we will return to being one, but here we are interconnected while being individuals. And what I do in an Akashic Records session for a particular client is seek permission from the Akash as an aspect of source to access the beautiful part of this loving, living, organic consciousness tapestry web of life and of consciousness and of all things, the part that pertains or is the client's organic weaving. what's going on in their life. This is their spot right here. And that's what we will access. We hone in on one person's specific Akashic record as part of the greater whole in session. And people are welcome to come with 3 or 4 concepts, themes, topics that they want to work on in their session, or that they would like me to look into. You can come with a few questions. I don't allow people to come with 40 or 50 questions. I had somebody try to do that once, and that is outside of the way the Akash chooses to interface or engage. The Akash, as an aspect of God, of Source, already knows what is the most relevant, prevalent, important information and loving awareness and activation to offer to each client in each session. So I hope that makes sense. You're welcome to look at my Akashic Records playlist here on my YouTube channel. There are several, many of you have probably seen me do the mini individual sessions that I will do on these live streams. Those are kind of a brief snippet of what would be offered in a full length one-on-one private session. And then there are several Akashic session segments that you can watch as well. If you were to book with me, sessions would be recorded, and you will be sent an email with the Zoom link, or with the Zoom link recording. And you have about 3 to 4 weeks after we have met and you to retrieve the recording and download it for yourself before it is erased from my Zoom cloud. Let's see what else. I'm also, so right now, I guess I'll take a few questions here in a minute. If anyone has any, but what am I offering right now? So I'm offering a full variety of Akashic Records stuff. So you can meet with me one-on-one on Zoom, live, in person. There are video options and audio only options that you're welcome to pick between. And then I also have 2 options for a pre-recorded Akashic Records reading, and those are a little bit lower ticket. So if you're really interested in getting a session, you don't want to have it live streamed, but you would like to investigate like a 20-minute mini session or a 30-minute mini session, I will do those pre-recorded where you do not attend, and that's what makes it a little bit less money. Is you book it, and then I will get that recording to you within 5 business days. And it is just an audio recording. You do not get video on a pre-recorded thing like that. And then I also have the 15 to 20 minute mini Akashic sessions that I live stream here. And I do those really typically a couple times a week. If I have interest and people are wanting to connect for those, you're welcome to email me at any time, sarah.descending@proton.me, to arrange any one of those Akashic readings. I do have a Stan Store link. I am in the process of moving things from Stan to a different website. So while you could book some of these things on my Stan Store, you are invited to just also email me directly as I am switching over to my website. So that's the Akashic Records. What else is there? I offer Beyond Quantum Healing, which is a quantum consciousness exploration modality. It is another playlist here on the YouTube channel. You are welcome to look at some of that. There are some of my own session segments. There are quite a few with clients. Get an idea for what you might potentially explore, and you are in the driver's seat for that. I'm holding the container. I'm directing the session. I'm asking good questions to help you get the information that you need, but it is really being led by your expanded aspects and higher, like, if you will, higher self. I don't love that term. I prefer expanded self, but your expanded aspects in working with benevolent energy streams that are supportive of you. So that's what I'm offering right now. Akashic records in several varieties, beyond quantum healing, 1 to 2 per week, because they're longer. They're 3 to 4 hour sessions, typically about 3 hours. And then I'm also still offering for people who are new to all of this. You like what I'm saying, you're not sure what would be the most beneficial for you. I do offer, or you're just wanting some intuitive guidance, I do still offer an intuitive guidance conversation. Those are 45-minute sessions presently, and they're a great way to come into connection with me and get some intuitive or oracular wisdom and advice without kind of a formal modality being used. Descend to Ascend is my signature package. That is where the deepest and most quantum work that I offer, as well as the most access to me as a practitioner, is available at. So Descend to Ascend is a 4 to 6 week program. We meet 4 times for longer than my other offerings, and it includes a BQH session as well for those who want it. And there's email and message support, and even the possibility for like integration calls in between session meetings if you're needing a little bit of extra support or assistance, and I am able to fit you into my schedule. We can hop on a call for 10 or 15 minutes to work through something, or continue where we left off in the prior session. So those are the things that I'm currently offering. If any of them are calling to you, do feel free to email me for my intro form. Intro form is required for new clients that I haven't worked with. If you were a 2023 client and I didn't see you at all in 2024, you are now a new client and would need to do the intro forms. And then typically you're invited to book a discovery call. If you'd like to book a package, if you're just wanting to do a one-off session, we just go right into booking the session. So that's a little bit about what I'm currently offering as far as modalities. And I wanted to add that for those who have experienced the very significant depth quantum clearing that I do within my quantum clearing and energy repair container, this will be included, or is included, in Descend to Ascend. And I will bring elements of it into these modalities that I've just spoken with you about, but I will no longer be offering it as a, like 3-pack or a 10-pack. If you feel you would really benefit from this, I will consider one session of it on a case-by-case basis. So let's see. Oh yeah, thank you. I agree. We are part of the earth. I do agree with that. So I'm just kind of feeling into things. I'm kind of feeling into what would be the most important to share. I may just, let's see, the Akash is wanting to talk about my word for 2025 is discernment. And this keeps the Akashic Records keeps repeating, speak about discernment. I've been writing about it. I've been sharing my own intuitive insights about the need for an increase in discernment in 2025. And I got the phrase the other day that we are going to continue to see signs and wonders that will feel very real and very legitimate. And sometimes they'll be amazing, and sometimes they'll be catastrophic, the way we have been seeing. Discernment about everything, no aspect, absolutely everything. So be aware that as we continue through this period of time that we're calling 2025, the need for discernment in all things is going to increase. And then there's also a need for those of us who have been working in recent years in cultivating this discernment to assist others in beginning to grow that within themselves. So that's something I keep really, really honing in on within my own heart and in my own personal work is how do we gently help other people come into, like, I know you can't wake anyone up, but how do we help them come into a place where they can, from both a body-based and heart-based sense, as well as you bringing the mind into it. We're not trying to mind something too hard or overthink so it's a loop, but we are trying to connect in a way with a coherent mind, heart, body, felt sense that we can equate as discernment. And so I just offer to you, if you're somebody who's like me and feeling some of these same things as being important in 2025, I would recommend including in your personal work or your personal process some meditation about assisting others and holding space for other people to come into their own and to have their own experience, but be available to assist with the transmission and activation of sacred discernment. That's another theme that I've been really, really picking up on within kind of the general population lately. This other theme is that of standing as a witness or being a witness. So the other thing I wanted to offer is that this is a time, especially going back to the stress that we've talked about, the stress that many people are under. So many beautiful and well-intentioned people are yearning to be seen, and many of them are also afraid to be seen. There's this tug of war, this push-pull, if you will. But oftentimes when somebody is in pain, there's not anything anybody else can do to fix the problem or take away the pain. What we are being called to do, and being called to do in a greater way, is to witness, to validate, I see you, and function as a witness for whatever another is experiencing and going through. And the message and lesson about standing as a sacred witness, which is so much of what I do in my offerings, standing as a sacred witness, is that in witnessing others, we witness ourselves. In witnessing in the totality of the human experience for another, we also offer that to the self. And it is a sacred, important, beautiful, and often agonizing part of the human journey and experience. And it's a very important one that is crucial on this path of growth, love, and evolution. And remember, the Akash wants me to add, this should not be about revolution. It's about evolution, the ebbs and flows of inner growth, the inner evolution, back to soul, back to wholeness, and shedding all that we aren't to remember what we are. Revolution is a word that means, here's another revolution, we're going around the wheel again. That precisely is what we are putting a stop to. And I invite you to join me in this beautiful, sacred, important work during this crucial time in our human journey and experience. I'll talk yeah, I guess I feel like, yeah, this is complete. I was going to talk about Atlantis a little bit. Maybe that'll be for another discussion coming up soon. Please know that if you are in the US, I guess what I'll add, if you are in the US, part of what we are all doing, I think a lot of Canada is involved in this as well. But we are holding the Atlantean karma. The US is functionally old New Atlantis or new old Atlantis. And there is a ploy and a long-term plot to try to redo or bring back what happened then and why it is no more. And yes, there were many iterations of it, but I'm just speaking in general. It is no more because of things that were going wrong and things that were happening. So it's crucial to understand that we are at a threshold. We are at an intersection point in which we must choose. Are we going to do that again? Are we going to allow that to happen again? Or are we going to stand up and say, no more, we will not stand for these atrocities? That's where we're at. Do I agree with the view that a lot of Americans are reincarnation of it? My view on reincarnation is very nuanced and complex, and it's not as simple as life after life. It's templates. I don't feel like I can get into that. Somebody asked, do I agree with the view that a lot of Americans are reincarnations of Atlanteans? Yes and no. And it actually doesn't matter nearly as much as the typical New Age spiritualist would have you believe. What matters is that we have access to the entirety of the human experience through the Akashic and the idea that we are all interconnected. And maybe a phrase that some people might recognize. I'm not totally sure that this is how I would typically describe it, but there's this idea of like a quantum entanglement. Well, we are all connected, we are interconnected, and we return to one. And so it doesn't matter if I'm the reincarnation of an Atlantean high priestess or not. If I am templated to remember and I have a cellular remembering of such. So what I do know and what I do feel comfortable sharing is that I believe the US and a large portion of Canada are holding the Atlantean karma for the reason that we are here to clear, correct, and repair. Whether or not, we all had a bunch of lives as Atlanteans doesn't necessarily matter. As much as knowing that we are cellular and on a cellular, not just cellular level, templated to do this work. Everybody is in place. So I hope that answers the question. That's my current view. We are all everything and nothing. That is the paradox, the sacred paradox of spirit, the marriage of spirit and matter that we find ourselves functioning as or being in this beautiful, sometimes broken holographic physicality. Thank you guys so much for coming. I'm going to call it here. If you would like to connect with me, do feel free to inquire about booking a session. I would love to work with you for aligned parties. And I guess I'll mention, I have one BQH session available towards the end of the month. I'm doing things a little differently in February as far as my schedule. So I'm only offering one of those longer session segments per week. And I do have an opening the last week of February. So if you would like to connect for that, please feel free to inquire. Do keep in mind, if you were a close 2024 client, so all close 2024 clients get 20% off all my offerings for all of 2025. And I would be honored to connect with you for Akashic, intuitive conversation, or Beyond Quantum Healing. And if you would like to explore working together in my Descend to Ascend package, do reach out for my intro form and we can have a discovery call and talk about that together. So I wish you a great rest of the night, and I will talk to you soon. Bye. Let's see.